You know, they're selling you all wolf tickets, people. You're eating them right up.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I back. Trust me, I back.
But I'm not impressed by your performance.
You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing. Shut your fucking mouth, you'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Not one of you will do nothing.
I'll tell you what, bro. You know, I was out there, I was fighting all the hitters, bro. You ain't fought no hitters.
Come on, guys. It's normal.
I'm not saying I would fight you. I would kill you.
John, do you think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John? I mean, really?
No, don't be scared, homie.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the fuck he wants.
I'm gonna beat you into the living death. I mean, maybe that's your job, but where I come from, you know, people like that get slapped.
That's fucking illegal.
Nick Diaz, you just shook up the world. How's that feel?
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Yeah, this is a simulated death match. And you haven't simulated anybody's death yet.
I said it last year. We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
What is the game plan going in against him?
The game plan is you go in there, hit him with some good shit, don't get hit, and come home with a pocket full of cash.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing.
Do you want to be a fighter? That is my question.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chili. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? Mixed Summer Radio family, another, immediate reaction show. We were going to do live fight chats, but it just became insanely awkward in terms of timing for the Top Rank and UFC card. But we're here, live chat, not live fight chat. God, I'm all over the place. It's been a long day, man. It's been like 8 hours of fights. We had KSI, Logan Paul earlier today. If you want to call in and talk about that, 323-870-4051. Obviously, Top Rank on ESPN. Isaac Dogbe, huge first-round knockout. Michaela Mayer having a good, huge, emphatic win as well. Jose Pedraza with the upset, man. Cannot wait to talk about that one. And obviously, Justin Gaethje coming out here and putting on just a fucking emphatic first-round win. I'll be honest, I was coming into this show tonight thinking, we're going to talk about Dogbe a lot. What a performance of the night right there. But, man, Gaethje coming out and making claim for it. But obviously, I'm joined today by my good friend Santiago. Santiago, man, how you doing?
Doing good, man. And Dogbe and Justin coming out with first-round knockouts tonight, and both were fairly impressive, you know.
It was. And, I don't know where to start. I think we should start with boxing because, obviously, boxing started first. It ended first. And plus, mainly of our listeners are boxing fans. So let's start with boxing. We're not going to talk about anything in terms of the prelims, other than I will give one quick shout-out to Robson, what's his name? The undercard, the undefeated amateur fighter.
From Brazil.
I should know the name. Conceição?
There you go.
I believe is his name.
And that's how you need to pronounce it right.
He looked pretty good. He won't get any playtime in any other YouTube show, podcast, anywhere, but definitely go check out his fight. He looks good. He could be not necessarily good going forward, but he's going to be a contender, at least in my opinion. But let's move on to Dogbe because he was up first. We actually missed it live because of ESPN starting late. Shout out to ESPN. Gunshots for you guys because it's just atrocious. Pathetic over there. But
yeah, because while we were waiting to see it, we were privy to a football game.
Ooh, yeah, riveting stuff there. But luckily they did show the whole fight in its entirety because it was a first-round knockout.
We basically saw the fight as a replay, but it was still a fight. So,
and again, Dogbe, we picked Dogbe heading into that fight. We thought Dogbe was going to be basically do what he did in that first round, but it was going to take longer. We thought Otaka was going to be able to take some of the damage from it.
Yeah, you thought it was going to go like maybe 6-8 rounds. I thought it was going to get him out in 4. So that first round was like, damn.
Agreed. And I don't know if we should start getting hyperbolic with him because it was that good of a win. I think he was that great in the post-fight interview. He looks to have the power, the skill, the technique, everything you could sort of want in a champion to push. Obviously, I saw some people even say pound for pound talent. I think we should, slow down.
Pump the brakes a little bit.
Just a little bit there, a little bit.
It's only one title defense right now. We've only for me at least, I've only seen him twice. So
but to say that he doesn't beat Ray Vargas or other guys at 122 pounds, he does. Like, I think he should be the favorite against everyone in that division. What he did to Jesse Magdaleno in and of itself is proof of that, let alone this demolition of Otake, who took Scott Quigg the distance in a tough back-and-forth affair. That this wasn't supposed to be as much of a mismatch as it was, and it was that. What do you like to see of Dog Bay heading forward?
Me personally, I'd like to see him basically pick up where at this point Guillermo Rigondeaux left off when he decided to move up to take on Lomachenko. I think he's the man at 122 now. And aside from like promotional affiliations and all the obvious risk involved, I'd like to see him against like, any of the other 122 pounders, be it Ray Vargas or, whoever is willing to get in there, because I think he's the goods, and I think it makes for some exciting matchups. Like I was telling you off air while we were watching it, imagine him at StubHub.
Agreed. I think he's built for potentially the LA or New York market, small venue places, and just put on exciting fights. He could be that guy. And again, that post-fight interview, I'm not usually one to like when fighters go on and on about God and stuff in post-fight interviews. Like, it's okay to mention it and move on. But when you just keep talking about it, it becomes kind of insufferable, just being honest. But that was like a sermon in spoken word. It was so beautiful coming from Isaac Dogbe. He can talk about Jesus Christ all day long, and I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it. I'm sold. I'll buy your fight. $10 pay-per-view on YouTube, I'll pay for that. Isaac Dogbe next. Like, let's do that any day of the week. I think even though we're going to talk about Justin Gaethje and James Vick, and that's obviously a different sport, and that might take away from the shine a little bit, Dogbe definitely, in terms of boxing, performance of the night out of anyone, I would say. The performer of the night. Even though we're going to get to Jose Pedraza, and I think we're going to definitely lay a lot of acclaim and applause to him, Dogbe and how emphatic the win is, even though it was the first fight on the televised card, which makes zero sense to me. And we're going to get into that a little bit too. Dogbe should get a ton of applause and acclaim from the boxing fans and the media. He should. And I know he's going to get sort of left out on this weekend. He just is. He was the opening fight of the night on ESPN. The UFC had their event. It's just going to get lost in the shuffle, I feel like. Us hardcores know it, and everyone listening in the chat, Fighter IQ, Drew, SFV, Big Al, everyone in the chat, hit the like button, subscribe, share the show, all that stuff. But you guys saw it. You guys are hardcores, so I assume that you guys will respect and understand how good Dogbe is. But the casual fan out there, they didn't see the fight. It was over too fast. They had the football fight on first. It is. It's just gonna be interesting to see what they do with Dogbe, because I think he has so much potential. He has so much going for him. He has so much of that X factor for stardom, in my opinion. Even at 122 pounds, even for a foreign fighter in the U.S.
And he's got the exciting style to bring in the fan base too, in my opinion.
Absolutely agree with that. Absolutely. Like you said, picking up where Rigondeaux left off, I think he's in a much better place. Because one thing that he has that Rigondeaux never had, he never had Bob Arum's blessing.
Yeah. And I mean, he was basically, like, Rigondeaux was basically tainted after he beat Nonito Donaire the way he did. And I don't see this being an issue. And like I said, promotional affiliation aside, I don't see him having any issues trying to make the fights for this guy and pushing him, because this is the guy you want to back at this point.
And let's get to that and the idea of pushing and putting it behind. And we're going to get to the fights, and this is going to be our segue to the Michaela Mayer fight. We talked about it live during the fight, obviously in studio off air, when it became very apparent that Michaela Mayer was the co-main event. And she went from her TV debut to co-main event on a Saturday night, and really the only boxing event of the day. Like, even though you had the KSI Logan Paul that was early in the day, this was the sole boxing event of the weekend. It should actually do pretty good viewership just because of that, to be honest. And I can both applaud them for putting Michaela Mayer in that co-main spot, because I understand that they see the potential in her, the value in Michaela Mayer and what she could bring to them. She could be their Ronda Rousey in a sense. Maybe not to that effect, but She could be the what do they call it? Like the not the queen of ESPN, the what do they call her? The first lady of Top Rank?
There you go. The first lady of Top Rank.
First lady of Top Rank. Like, she could definitely carry that torch for women's boxing in that market, or at least in that side of the industry, the ESPN side, the Top Rank side. So I give them credit for that. But again, you have a world champion. You have Isaac Dogboe, the guy that beat your Mr. Top Rank in Jesse Magdaleno. A guy that's been pushed by Top Rank for years and years. This guy beat him. And now you have some rights to him. And you don't give him that co-main status. When he has an exciting style, he's in there against Otake, who should bring an exciting style with him. I don't understand that move. I think you still get the positives of putting Michaela Mayer on TV as the TV opener. And I think you get a better overall viewership and exposure for an Isaac Dogboe, who in the short term needs it. Michaela Mayer is the long-term game. She's 7-0. You're thinking long-term with her. Isaac Dogboe, even though he's 23 and relatively young himself, he's a champion right now. Capitalize on his monetary potential right now. Because especially since the lower divisions, their prime is so much shorter and so much sooner that you got to capitalize on it right now. I feel like it was sort of a misstep to put Dogboe as the opener, not the co-main. Any thoughts on that before we jump to Michaela Mayer?
Yeah, I'm happy to see that how much faith they have in her, but at the same time, as far as I was concerned, as far as you were concerned, I thought that it was going to be Michaela as the opener, Dogboe as the co-main event because it was 2 world title fights. But it is what it is, and the lower divisions alone don't get a lot of shine. That's why we have the Superfly events to begin with. Superfly 1, 2, and 3 coming up, and it's kind of like this is a guy that needs it. And this is a guy that can provide you with something. So please, do him the favor of doing you the favor.
Yeah, it's you can make money off of Dogboe. You can. Somebody in the chat, Big Al, said he is so likable. He is. Dogboe comes off as like Mr. Clean. Like you want to have like a beer with, but he may not drink. He's that Mr. Clean. He just comes off like a guy that you want to hang out with, and that helps. The idea that he can connect with the audience, he does. He absolutely does. And also, Big Al saying that he will be on top 10 on SportsCenter. That could be true. Obviously, this is an ESPN fight. There's an obvious monetary connection between Top Rank and ESPN, and we really don't know the particulars of that deal and that contract up until 2025. Like it's some very long-term deal. It could be like. Similar to how like they even put PBC events on SportsCenter now for the top 10. They put the Efe Agabi situation from Friday, right? I mean, when his opponent walked out, Curtis Hooper, whatever, right?
Curtis Harper, and that thing trended and viraled so hard. I go to Google and type in Curtis Harper. I got to go through 6 different links before I can get to his box rec.
I love it. It's amazing. But digressing, Michaela Mayer, she comes out here and gets a, second or third round?
I believe it was actually a 4th round corner stoppage. After she injured her right hand.
Defeating Edna Kiss, who's really only lost to top competition. What do you think of Michaela Mayer in this fight? Does she show anything new? Is it still sort of the same old with what we see with her?
I think right now it's more of the same old, but that's mostly because of the competition. For me at least, not really being something to make her, step up for the performance. So I feel like once she gets in there with that top 15, top 10 caliber opponent, we'll see more of what she's capable of. Because right now, I feel that the potential is there, but it's not palpable. I can't really touch it yet.
And obviously, like fights like Katie Taylor are future super fights for her. And plus, with the whole UK versus US boom right now in boxing, I think that's a storyline you can easily tap into if you're them, right? Like again, with Michaela Mayer, she's a long-term investment. I think Edna Kiss is a good step up in competition. It's unfortunate that she got her hand injured. I would have liked to see a little bit more from her, but she was dominant in that fight. Like Michaela Mayer has been so fundamentally sound that she wipes her competition out. She just does. Her Olympic pedigree is obvious. I don't think she's as fluid athletically as, let's say, Katie Taylor, who also has much more Olympic pedigree. Michaela Mayer never medaled. Katie Taylor, one-time gold medalist.
Yeah, one-time gold medalist for Ireland.
But she has everything in there to be the foil to a Katie Taylor, in my opinion. And plus, born and raised in L.A. helps. Blonde white girl helps. This is, let's just be honest, like Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, she could be the poster girl there. Ronda
Rousey, literally, blonde white girl from L.A. Like, this isn't rocket science, people. This isn't. There's a reason it's easier to sell that than a Chris Cyborg or Clarissa Shields. I don't think we need to go into that, but it is what it is. Let's move on to the main event. Jose Pedraza defeating Ray Beltran via huge upset, unanimous decision victory to claim the WBO.
And become a two-division world champion in the process.
To become the WBO lightweight champion. And quickly remember, call in 323-870-4051. We'll be taking your calls. If you want to call in just for boxing, call in right now, because I'll take your calls before we head into any UFC topics, any UFC fights. If you want to call in right now and get all the boxing info out of your way, your reaction to it, 323-870-4051, press 1. But Jose Pedraza, I think he just had a career, maybe a defining performance, maybe a career best performance. I don't know which one to differentiate in this case. Maybe both. He just looked fantastic. Like, this was the best Pedraza we have ever seen, in my opinion. Go.
Yeah, no, like me, I had already counted out Pedraza just because of the simple fact that he was moving up in weight. He had the loss to Tank Davis. And Beltran, he just barely became champion, and I felt like this was like a good first title defense for him. But like, not only did Pedraza look better acclimated to the weight than I thought he was going to be, he came out as a southpaw. He had lots of good success with those uppercuts, putting Beltran down with a left uppercut counter to the head in, like, I believe the 11th round, and just looked really impressive, a lot more than what I would have expected to see out of him tonight.
Quickly, Jay, I see your comment in the chat. Me and you both know that the industry favors one. We just both know that. Like, me and you can both sit here and understand that, like, Clarissa Shields is a better fighter, and she probably has more star power. But we both know the industry is just different, and that it is the way it is. ESPN is going to look at Michaela Mayer differently than Clarissa Shields. Like, we can let's be honest here for a second. Now, I know that's hot topic, but it is what it is. Jay saying, have you ever heard of Serena Williams? That's amazing. And again, that's even a better situation. Look at how often the tennis industry has pushed people like Maria Sharapova back into the limelight. And how many times has she lost to Serena Williams? I'm sorry, the industry favors one over the other. It is what it is.
Yeah, we don't have to like it, but it is a fact. It is what it is at this point. Obviously,
Corporate America is going to look at blonde hair white girl different than a black girl. It just is. They look at males that way. They do. Like, there is an inherent racism and bias in corporate America. And ESPN, a.k.a. owned by ABC, a.k.a. owned by Disney, the number one example of corporate America? Come on, Jay. You and I both know that. But digressing back to Pedraza, Beltran, his jab, I kind of made fun of him because I thought Pedraza is a guy that doesn't stick to boxing. He gets sucked into fights. He doesn't keep his distance, uses height, uses reach.
You were making fun of his highlight reel when they were talking about him.
Well, because in the highlight reel, they saying like, oh, he's a great boxer. He has this great jab. And all the highlight reels is him on the inside working that game. And like, that was funny to me. But digressing again, Pedraza, he did everything not necessarily we, but the people that have credited Pedraza and really hyped him up, especially before the Gervonta Davis fight, this is what they're talking about, is this Pedraza. And again, maybe Beltran was a made opponent for him, a guy that has no head movement, a guy that really comes on the center line. But then again, we've seen Pedraza, I think, struggle with worse guys. So you would have thought that the upping the competition level with Beltran would have had a worse effect. But instead, we saw Pedraza rise to the occasion. And those final rounds in the championship rounds, I mean, he was insanely good and active. His flurry at the end of the fight, incredible. The uppercut knockdown around 11, I believe it was, around 10. I think it was around 11. Again, I think someone said in the chat it was a career-saving performance. I think we need to be a little more optimistic. Not optimistic. A little more. We need to give him a little more credit here. Like, this was a beautiful boxing display of Pedraza. You know, it may not have been the Terrence Crawford display against Beltran, but that's Terrence Crawford. Let's be honest here, right? And you know what? Yes, obviously Loma is basically scheduled to fight Pedraza now in December, and we can all probably admit that Lomachenko should win that fight handedly still. But this was a career performance for Pedraza. And again, not a Hall of Famer, not a guy we're going to talk about maybe in 30, 50 years, but two-division champion, a guy that's beat some good names like Tevin Farmer, like Ray Beltran. And for someone that came off and still sort of coming off that loss to Gervonta Davis coming into this fight, I think he rose to the occasion in every single way. Salute to him. Kind of sad for Ray Beltran. Unfortunately, always just a good guy in the sport. Gonna be interesting to see what happens with him next. You know, does he have another comeback like he did after Crawford? But yeah, I mean, just again, great fight, fun fight. Pedraza, just salute to you, man. Salute.
Yep.
Anything else on that, Santiago?
No, not really. I mean, I think we've all had to say about, the top rank card today. And what else is there to say? Kudos to Pedraza getting the win tonight.
Yes. Call in 323-870-4051 to give your immediate reaction. We're gonna head into the UFC card. Justin Gaethje versus James Vick. Brutal first round knockout for Justin Gaethje, calling out Tony Ferguson afterwards. Obviously, Tony Ferguson linked in Anthony Pettis fight, which we'll talk about later this week. Overall thoughts on the very quick fight. There's not much we could have, but thoughts.
You had already explained to me that while Justin was the better fighter overall, that you were more in favor of James Vick, and for a really good while, James Vick had a really solid game plan too going into that first round.
Yeah, he was looking good.
He was controlling the distance with his legs. Was making sure to get out, but then he just got caught with that beautiful overhand right to the temple, and out he went.
Drew, I just saw your comment in the chat. Please call in, Drew, if you are buzzed. I definitely want that. And you tweeting off of the MCR official account, buzzed, is both, I'm not going to say not okay, because I post high all the time, so why would I care? But that's just funny. It's funny. But definitely call in, Drew. Come on. 323-870-4051. I know it's late, people, especially in the East Coast. It's past 1 a.m. It's 1:30.
And in the UK, they're barely waking up. It's probably 6 a.m. over there.
Yes. But yes, Justin Gaethje, mean right hand. I think, talking about career-saving performance, this was sort of that. Maybe not career best performance, but definitely up there for Justin Gaethje. But definitely career-saving. 2 huge losses in a row, to the point of where we definitely started questioning his health heading into this fight. James Vick questioned that heading into this.
You remember what he called him?
I do, and I'm not going to repeat it on the show, but it's fucking hilarious. And that's called instant karma. Instant karma right there. But yeah, I think Justin Gaethje saved his career with this beautiful right hand. Again, like you said, James Vick looked great in the first minute or so of the fight. Drew saying, that's when you know Drew's drunk, okay? And I saw you saw it and you didn't want to mention it, and you started chuckling to yourself. Drew in the chat for everyone on podcast who's buzzed, and our by the way, officially our new social media director, or one of our new social media directors. Salute to you, Drew. Which reminds me, I should make you a moderator, even though you're a little bit tipsy right now. There you go, Drew. You are now a official moderator of the chat, even though you're drunk.
Congratulations.
But Drew's saying, I forgot the number. Drew, the number's on the screen. Drew.
Not unless his vision is that blurred right now.
Come on, Drew. Come on. The number's on the screen. Even Alex can say it. It's 3-2. Oh my God. Drew, man, I love you for that. Thank you. You just made my night.
Alex, I hope you really do call in. We'd love to have you on here.
Yes, Alex, SFV, which I believe is in San Fernando Valley. Fernando, everyone call in. Come on, 323-870-4051. Press 1. Ron is in the chat. Ron, the mastermind. He's pressed 1. Should we go to Ron?
Hey, why not?
We should go to Ron.
Why not?
Ron, it's late, and Ron, he's probably doing TBV duties. God knows what else he's doing. So, gotta say, salute to Ron. Ron, the mastermind over at TBV. What is up?
Yo, what's up, man? It's West Coast, so I can actually stay up a little late over here.
That's true.
I'm just gonna say my little quick thoughts. I agree with you guys, man. Dog Bay should have been the co-main event. No disrespect to Michaela. You got a champion. You came off with a great win. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, this was a great opportunity for you to kind of build him up. But I did notice one thing. They did have I think a sporting event that bled into the boxing event. And once the boxing event started, they actually started in a minute and a half in the Dog Bay fight. So you already know what happened in the fight. So I think that was a good timing for people to switch sporting programs and catch Dog Bay actually beating up the guy. But my fantasy matchup for Dog Bay, if it ever works out this way, is if he happens to clean up the division and then Nui wins and goes for the next division, that would be a really good fight. I know a lot of people in Japan has actually been talking about Dog Bay and Nui already.
Ooh.
But Makeo, that'll be a fantasy matchup.
Yo,
Mayer looks
hold
good.
on, Ron. I'm gonna say something that's pause worthy, but I gotta say you got me excited right there. Like you did, pause. But man, that fight has magic written all over it.
You got Matt sounding like a dog right there the minute you heard that.
I mean, that's definitely a hardcore fantasy matchup. You gotta really appreciate both these guys, because when I saw Dog Bay fight, his last fight, you always question, are they gonna get a little lazy? You never really know. And seeing that performance, I'm convinced. Give me the Dog Bay newsletter. I want to know everything about this dude. He's really polished. He was patient, even with that second standing 8 count. You even saw the control that he pulled back a little bit. So that showed a lot of discipline and patience. And he was able to mix up his power punching, because when he really wanted to hit that guy, he hit him. It wasn't an accident. He really put a lot of power. So he's very talented, very exciting. And Nui, he's in a great tournament. So I mean, why not? That's what pound for pound guys do, right? They move up.
Absolutely.
But the Michaela Mayer, I think she's great. I agree. I mean, Clarissa Shields is like Showtime. Katie Taylor is the Zone, Matchroom. So she is the top ranked ambassador. I think she's a little bit below. I think she's in the early stages like Katie Taylor before she won her world title. So a couple more matches, and then until I start seeing her just tear them apart on some Dog Bay stuff, then that's when I can see her, become that champion and hold the top ranked women fighting. Ray Beltran, I didn't pick Pedraza to win that. So I think everyone thought that Pedraza moving up weight was going to be something that Beltran can handle. But he's 37. He's old. We knew the winner of this was going to be some sort of sacrificial lamb for Lomachenko. And I think Pedraza showed a lot more than people anticipated. Now, I'm not going to get all, super excited, but, his only loss was to Gervonta St. Davis. So I think a lot of people overlooked his skills, and I think that we should appreciate him a little bit more. But Lomachenko is a totally different fighter than Ray Beltran, and you did see Ray Beltran give him a little bit of discomfort. So I think the lateral movements and the consistent pressure that Lomachenko brings with all his offensive moves probably give him problems. But good fight. Congratulations. Both. I'm glad Beltran at least won his title and was able to experience that and, get his citizenship. And then the UFC, look, I tuned in to this fight. I know I talked to you, man, but I tuned in this fight for a war. His last 3 fights, were very exciting. Win, lose, I enjoy this guy a lot. My girlfriend enjoys watching his fights a lot too. But I did not expect him to take – I don't even know this dude Vick too much. I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch a lot of his fights. But knowing the last 3 fights that Gaethje's been in, they've been a lot of war. So you kind of feel like he might be damaged goods in this type of style fight that he possesses. But, man, I did not see that punch coming. And, I'm happy for him. Congratulations to him and seeing the fact that now he can put his name back into another big fight. I know he called out Tony Ferguson. He's probably not going to get that. But, I would like to see maybe Kevin Lee. I think Kevin Lee at that point would be the most sensible opponent to fight. If not, Barboza would probably be the closest thing. But anything behind that, I don't think is, for Justin Gaethje. He needs a big name, exciting fight. That's just what makes people come out and watch him. But that's my call, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Stay to grinding, man. I love talking about some MMA for once. So I was really excited to get to call and talk to you guys about that Justin Gaethje knockout punch, man.
It's amazing. It was emphatic. Thank you, Ron. Make sure you check into TBV Live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Thursdays and Sundays. Quickly, one name I want to bring up with Justin Gaethje before we head to this next caller, because I know that some of these callers just want to talk boxing, so I'm going to go to that. Justin Gaethje versus Kevin Lee. That is the fight to make for Justin Gaethje. Just saying. But 951, we're going to go to you next. I believe this is probably what? SFV? Fernando? Who is this? 951?
Hey, it's me, Drew.
What was the name?
Hello? It was Drew.
Oh, Drew. What up, Drew?
Yeah, what's going on, man? Yeah, I had to call in. I mean, he called me out.
I did call you out. What's up, Drew? How you doing?
You sound pretty good for a guy who's apparently buzzed.
Nah, yeah, I mean, I think you guys took the word buzz a little too serious. No, I'm just, I'm chilling, a couple fight beers, couple of shots, no big deal.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and then like 10
anyways,
margaritas, 10 tequila shots. You're all good, right?
2 of them, but yeah.
What do you think of the fight, Drew?
We'll get to 10. You know what? It was a good night, Everything turned out pretty well. A lot of knockouts tonight, even on the undercards.
Yeah.
It started off that way, and it just led into a good main card. I can't believe that happened to Beltran, to be honest. I did pick him to win, and that's just basically because of my, lack of knowledge on, Pedraza, and and then there you go. You get all that sniper action, and then boom, he jabs his way all the way to a victory. And even though he caught him with that uppercut and all that, I mean, man, he was really controlling the flow of that whole fight.
Yeah, and also I don't think it's a lack of knowledge on your part. I think everyone was picking Beltran. Like, there was only a few people I saw in the media and a few fans I know picking Pedraza, and some of them are just Puerto Rican and picking it because of that. Like, it's not a lack of knowledge. Like, people really discounted Pedraza not only in this fight, but just since the Gervonta Davis fight period.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, too, is that, he comes out jabbing like that. And, if anybody was following Twitter could see that I felt that, the jabs weren't going to last. I thought Beltran was going to come through and just overpower him, basically. And I was just waiting, and never happened. He just did it all the way up until the uppercut, basically. It was kind of ridiculous. He had no slipping, no, the most he slipped was when he got hurt, it seemed like. He got hurt, he's sitting there on the ropes, and he's slipping all the punches. And I'm like, damn, where was all that, I don't know. He really, as far as I could see, he came out of nowhere and got him, And now they'll feed him to Loma.
Yep. I will say this, though. I think even though Beltran obviously had spots, he had rounds that he won, obviously, because of the inside work, because of him being able to get through the jab. I think Pedraza was able to just keep Beltran chasing him. He was always consistent with his lateral movement. Pedraza was never content with being still. Beltran was content with being still. I think that was the difference. And like I think you said and others, we thought that jab, we thought that movement was going to fade. We thought Pedraza was going to fade because he always fades. And that didn't happen.
Right, and for a second it looked like that too.
Yeah, that was, I think, like rounds 4 to 6, rounds 4 to 7. Beltran was doing a lot of good work. We thought it was going to be a momentum shift, and then it didn't happen. Pedraza got back in it.
Exactly.
He got that second wind, And also, whenever Beltran would get on the inside, try to clinch up, work dirty boxing, Pedraza, like Lomachenko, like other really good almost like Usyk, would almost like hop to the side. He would get out of there fast. He would not be content staying there for even a microsecond. And his legs just stayed up. Good for him. That cardio work must have just worked out for him.
Yeah, it was. It was a good fight. It was a good card. Obviously I had fun. But yeah, man. I mean, that's basically all I got. I mean, I just wanted to call and say hi to you guys, and wish you guys a good Saturday. And yeah, I'll catch up with you guys next time, though. Huh? You guys have a good night ahead of you.
You have a good night too, Drew.
You too, dude. Thanks for calling in.
And remember, we will not be back tomorrow for our Patreon-only show, Championship Rounds, patreon.com/MixCombatRadio, or Monday because it is my kid's birthday. So sorry about that. But yes, we're going to go on for more calls. We're going to break down more of the UFC card itself because there's actually some really good fights I want to talk about. And we did watch, I would say, most of them, Santiago. And remember, you can call in anytime. I'll take your calls. Don't worry about it. There's no time where we're going to be taking all of your calls. Just call in whenever. We'll take it. 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. And like Georgie said, press 2 to be an Antifa. But digressing, Michael Johnson defeating Andre Fili via split decision. This is a scorecard that I probably don't agree with. It's one I'm going to want to watch again, though. The Pedraza Beltran fight was on at the same time, so it's kind of hard to watch both of them. But from what I saw, Andre Fili was winning the stand-up game with his kicking arsenal, and also he was winning the grappling exchanges, initiating submissions, almost locking up a couple. He just always seemed like the more efficient fighter in there. Again, maybe I should watch it again, but I don't know how Michael Johnson won that fight. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Your attention was as split as mine was, considering. And obviously, when it comes to the ground game, I'm not as well versed in that as you would be.
Courtney Casey defeating Angela Hill via another split decision. One that I would also maybe be a little bit contentious. I might argue with, but not as much as the Michael Johnson fight.
Yeah, because you could see the improvements that Angela Hill had since joining the Dominic Cruz team. I mean, you were pointing that out, and she looked good, too. I liked her stand-up game.
And Courtney Casey, I think, was just negating some of the effectiveness of Angela Hill enough to where it was very even. I'm not going to argue with that one too much. Brian Barberena defeating Jake Ellenberger via TKO in the first round, retiring Jake Ellenberger. This is one we talked about a little bit more than the others just because of Jake Ellenberger and the career he's had. A guy that his UFC debut was Carlos Condit, a former interim welterweight champion. A guy that fought guys like Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler, Kelvin Gastelum back-to-back, all losses, and didn't complain about it once.
Yeah, just look at that 2010 to 2012 run.
I mean, beating guys like Diego Sanchez, Jake Shields, he was on something. He was close to a title shot. I think he's had a phenomenal career, even though he's never got a title shot. He's one of those guys that he's made a living out of it. You know, he's definitely made a living out of it.
Yeah, you consider him one of the best guys to never fight for a world title.
He's up there. He's like in that top 10 list of guys that never fought for a title. Very different than guys that fought for a title and never won it. But he's in that conversation for the UFC for sure. You know, where Barberena goes from here, I don't know. I know he called out. I think he called out Sage Northcutt again. I don't like that one at all. I don't care for that. You already beat him. What else? And just Jake Ellenberger overall, I just want to say salute to you. Great career. I hope you have a phenomenal post-fight career. And if you just wound up on a farm somewhere in Nebraska living your life, salute to that, brother. Hope you have a good one.
Yeah, after 13 years in the hurt business, you deserve it.
Yeah, over 40 fights and still only 33 years old. There's a lot of wear and tear on you in a very quick amount of time. Moving on. This is a fight that I did not watch in its entirety. I missed a portion in the middle of it, but I saw most of it, I would say. The Figueiredo versus John Moraga fight. Figueiredo, I'm not going to try to pronounce his first name, in the flyweight division, defeating John Moraga via TKO in the second round. A undefeated flyweight prospect that has a lot of hype, a lot of power, a lot of skill, something that the flyweight division kind of needs, even though it's in a period where now there's some storyline with Henry Cejudo defeating Demetrius Johnson, that trilogy fight in the making. But Figueiredo definitely, I think, turning some heads here with a huge, emphatic win over John Moraga. And I believe it was all set up with the body shot, which I fucking love. So salute to that. Moving on, Eric Anders defeating Tim Williams via highlight reel, Sports Center top 10 worthy knockout. To the point where when it happened, I jumped out of my seat. Literally jumped out of my seat and did like that move, right? Like I had to clutch someone. Pause. And I scared Santiago so bad he had to actually breathe a second because he wasn't looking at the screen. It was fucking hilarious. Anyways,
it was taking everything in me not to punch him as soon as he did that.
Yeah, instinctually, off of a defense mechanism, that your ancestors as apes developed in the wild against cheetahs. That's where that was came from. It was hilarious. But digressing, Eric Anders, who was kind of struggling at first against Tim Williams. Actually, Tim Williams looked really good in the fight up until the knockout. Went for a takedown. It was sprawled out. As Tim Williams was getting back up, Eric Anders said, "Nah, fuck that." Almost soccer kicked him in the face. Knocked him out with a single shot. Brutal fashion. We're going to post a picture of it on our Instagram page later because there's some beautiful pictures floating around.
Oh, yeah. The things you'd see in a gym.
But Eric Anders, a guy that's coming off a awful split decision loss to Lyoto Machida, needed this. He was looking kind of in the beginning. I'm glad he got the knockout win because I don't think the decision was going to be great for him, especially with how the scorecards were read in other fights on the night. But salute to Eric Anders, who really needed that, and obviously basically just cemented him back into the status as a middleweight contender and needed to start fighting other relevant names. Any thought on the knockout itself?
Oh, that knockout is basically right up there with the James Vick knockout. One for the kicks and one for the fists. And what more could you say, man? It just scared the hell out of me. Just from your reaction, your immediate reaction to that was worthy.
I do apologize for scaring you that much. But last fight of the night that we're going to talk about, even though there were some other ones, and before I talk about the last fight, we're going to talk about Joanne Calderwood. Picking up a huge win against Kadrina Ferreira via submission, triangle armbar, beautiful submission. Drew Dober picking up a huge win that he needed against John Tuck. Ronnie Yaya picking up a huge win that he needed. Mickey Gall picking up another win. And also Corey Sandhagen picked up a huge upset win against Yuri Alcantara via TKO in the second round. All great performances you should go back and watch. But James Krause versus Warley Alvarez, great back and forth fight. One of those that is kind of a sleeper fight, that it's not fight of the night. It's not one of those, but it's a good fight that if you're a fight fan, you should watch. James Krause defeating Warley Alvarez via TKO in the second round, setting up with knees and punches. James Krause bouncing back into sort of relevancy in the lightweight division. What do you think of the fight?
It was fun. It was definitely the kind of fight that, may not have been one of the best, but definitely a fight that kept my attention. And honestly, considering some of the fights that we'd been seeing earlier today, welcome change of pace for me,
That is true. That is true. Especially since that was kind of like your first fight back since the KSI shit, right?
Yes, because I actually watched that from 9 a.m. all the way until the main event.
That shit was so bad. But anyways, yes, that's seems like it's it today, ladies and gentlemen. Be back Tuesday. I know. I apologize. Sorry. Be back Tuesday, same time as always, 10 p.m. in the UK, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. in the Pacific to cover basically this again. I don't know if we will, though, because we kind of did it in this show. Usually that's what Mondays are. And with us being gone for so many days, there might be just a ton of news. So I don't know how it's going to work out for Tuesday's show. But stay tuned, obviously. Stay updated. MCR radio show on Twitter. Right there in the link below. And obviously Make Summit Radio on Instagram and Facebook. Obviously Make Summit Radio on Patreon, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere else basically. Those are really the only ones that are odd, like Twitter and such. That's only because Twitter does not allow enough characters. Shout out to you, Twitter. But Santiago, final thoughts as we're wrapping up the show.
Good main events, both impressive knockouts from what we saw, and honestly, the only thing I've had on my mind the entire day is, if you had watched it, my question would have been, had you at all heard of whoever the hell Raka Raka was recommending Dana White look at, because he was recommending him an MMA fighter.
Who?
Raka Raka, after his win, he was like, Dana White, if
oh, you're talking KSI Logan Paul?
Yes.
No, we're off of that. No, fuck that. Fuck that. No, I already did a show for that. I don't even know who Raka Raka is. I thought you had a stroke, to be honest. I was worried about your health when you started saying that. But anyways, digressing. Be back Tuesday. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms for me personally. Matt, the Hipster Hunter, Hipsters Your Haters Beware. Santiago, you're not on social media from what I know, but you could run some of our social media accounts.
Yeah, I run the Facebook fan page, and you can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/SANT731.
Yes. So if you want to go follow Santiago, the Human Box Wreck, you can. But yes, shout out to obviously Drew, Fighter IQ, Big Al, who was Georgie Porgy in the chat. I didn't even say Georgie Porgy's name, man. Shout out to Georgie Porgy. Jay Prodigy in the chat, always giving me that shit. Always fun. Have a great day. Be back later. Peace.
Later, guys.